So, assuming everyone can see my second screen there, let's dive right into this thing. So again, part of the idea here was that we have all these successful drip campaigns that we use at ActiveDEMAND, and I wanted to make sure you guys knew about them and knew how to use them, so that if you had a customer or yourself that wanted to create it, you could duplicate that that campaign. So we'll go through best practices, those examples that I was talking about, and then what to do after it launches and after you kind of get into it. So right into it, best practices. There's a couple of do's and don'ts that that I would really recommend. In terms of do's, drip campaigns are really meant to help a prospect down a sales funnel. You're always trying to get towards a goal, so it's really important to have that goal in mind. Like, what are you trying to do with the drip campaign? Ideally, it should be super measurable. It should be, I want them to download this thing. I want them to call me. I want them to fill out this form. I want them to reply with an email. So something that's measurable, because that really is the best way to know whether the drip campaign is doing what you want it to do. Set clear goals. Think about how they exit as well. So yes, there'll be some goals in there. There'll also be some not goals, but you still want to kick them out of the campaign. What if they unsubscribe? Okay, well that's going to be handled automatically. What if they reply to the email? What if they call in? What if they do something else? So some of those may not be goals, but you still may want to exit a person out of a drip campaign based on one of those things. And then the last thing to mention here is just to take care editing live workflows or campaigns, and I'll mention some more detail on that a little bit later on. Some don'ts. I would definitely, let's get that going there. I definitely wouldn't start out too complex. Drip campaigns are something that you can kind of build on and you can expand on after time. So I would start with the in product land, you would say like MVP, or most viable product, something, or minimum viable product, sorry, something that is basic, something that just gets the job done, and then add on it afterwards, because that act of being in use is sometimes the best place to get feedback. Definitely don't use a workflow when a campaign is a better fit. So we're going to be talking mostly about drip campaigns today. Technically, if you've got the corporate marketer, or if you've got the agency marketer and you're running the corporate marketer, you can do all this stuff in workflows. It would be a poor choice, because campaigns are better built for this kind of thing. There's better reporting in there, and you're less likely to really get yourself in a logic mess, something that where multiple workflows are firing and you're not really sure what's going on. And definitely don't process leads in each campaign. So processing leads is typically something that's done inside your sales notification workflows. And it's good to keep those, like, strictly speaking, you can do all sorts of crazy stuff. It's just not a good idea, because by keeping those things separate, it makes it easier to understand what each campaign is doing. Once you start putting in lead processing inside campaigns, it can be a little bit challenging to troubleshoot after you've got a couple of these things going. So a couple of do's and don'ts there. I was mentioning that don't start too complex. I would not recommend starting with something like this. This is a pretty complicated drip campaign. This is something that you get to after a while, something that you get to after you've added to the same automations for a while, and you've started to really build on that logic. So you definitely need to build up to something like this and not start with it. A good place to start that is real simple and really easy to start with is actually the autoresponders. So autoresponders are like these mini little campaigns. They start just like this. Someone filled in a form. We are going to reply to them with an email, for example. And this is just, again, a very simple way to start. Now, what if we were to add on to this thing? Now that email, that's an action. What if we were to add a decision on there, so that we took different actions based on what they filled in the form? Well, an example of this might be if we were to check if they were interested in delivery services. Maybe that was a form, a field that we had in there that we could ask them what they were interested in. One of the options was delivery services. So that that blue block that you're seeing there, that is a decision that that we've got there, and it is going to allow us to branch off and do different things after that decision. And the example here is if inside the form they said they were interested in delivery services, we could send them the email that's specific to delivery services. And if they weren't interested in delivery services, we could send them to the training services email. So this is just a very quick example of using a decision to branch out where people will go, because each person, as they're added to this autoresponder, when they fill out the form, they're going to each go through this on their own time and get spit out to the right spot after after they fill in that form. Now, let's expand this a little bit more. What if we took this idea and we did it for a feedback form, a form where people are giving us feedback on our service or our customer support or whatever the case might be? Well, in this case, let's say that form had a 5 stars, 1 to 5 stars that the customers can review us at. You know what would be cool? If they rated us 5 stars, let's try to get them to review us on Google. And if they rated us less than 5 stars, let's let the customer service manager know that this customer isn't perfectly satisfied. And this is what this example is doing. So that first decision, did they rate us 5 stars? That's checking the form to see if they've rated us the 5 stars or not. If they haven't, I'm using Pipedrive as a CRM in this instance. We could send an email to the customer service manager. We could Slack them. In this case, I'm posting it to Pipedrive because it's something that they use. But again, you would customize this to what you want. But if they did rate us 5 stars, well, let's go down this green path here. Let's ask them to review us on Google or Yelp, and then let's wait 1 week. So this stuff will all happen instantaneously. They fill out the form, the automation checks this, emails this, and then puts that customer in this 1 week wait period. And then after that 1 week wait period, we're going to check another decision. Did they review us? Now, I can't actually check Google to see if they reviewed us. That's not within my power. I don't have that system integrated. I just can check if they clicked on the link. So if they clicked on that link, I can see, did they click on the link? Yes, if they did click on the link, I'm going to send them a thank you. If they didn't click on the link to review us, I'm going to ask for a review one last time. So you can see this workflow. This is just an autoresponder. It's just a basic campaign, but it's starting to do something smart. And that is only ask customers that are perfectly satisfied for a review and follow up to see if they did review us or not. And if they did, send a thank you. And if they didn't, send a reminder to do it once more. It's a very easy little workflow to look at. And now if you want to know a little bit more about these blocks, these blue ones here, those are decision blocks. These other ones here are action blocks, and we've got a wait block in here as well. Most customers, when they go through this, they're going to zip through, and they're not going to have any wait period. So they'll get through to this, or they'll get through to that, and they'll go straight to the action, and then they'll be out. But if they did rate us 5 stars, they're going to zip through here. That email is going to be sent out, and they're going to be sitting in this workflow state for a while. And then once they're out of this workflow state and they move on, they're practically instantaneously moved out. So this is just a quick example of a little workflow. Now I'm going to get into some of our favorite trips and some really meaty examples of where we get some really good value from them. The first one is we have this campaign in Facebook lead ads. Now, Facebook lead ads is kind of neat. What Facebook lead ads do is they pre-fill in a bunch of information. So we have this how to adopt marketing automation as an agency. It's a white paper download. People can we can choose to pre-fill in their first name, last name, all that other kind of stuff because Facebook already knows it. So there's an advantage to using Facebook lead ads because it makes it easier for customers to fill in forms. We would, just as an aside here, I would recommend adding at least 1 or 2 like very detail-oriented questions, something that would be specific to their industry so that you can kind of qualify them just a little bit more, because it's almost too easy for people to fill in these Facebook lead ads, and you get a lot of garbage. You get a lot of people who click, 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 but they don't really need your product, or they're not really the right kind of prospect. So definitely add one more question to that. But long story short, we did one of these. We built one of these Facebook lead ads with that white paper, and we found we got a high number of leads, a high volume, but low quality. Low enough that sales did not want to do anything with the people who requested this white paper. We need to do something more. We need to get them to do a little bit more before they're sales ready. So if you're to look at this in terms of like a sales funnel, there's like a boundary where it's like, this is like leads have to be this quality for sales to contact them. These Facebook lead ads ones that we were getting were not good enough quality. We needed to do something more to them. And that's what we built this drip campaign for. We built a drip campaign that would help push these Facebook lead ad leads down a little bit to where they were higher quality enough, and sales could interact with them. So I'm going to take you through this step by step, the campaign that we built. So ActiveDEMAND integrates with Facebook lead ads. You can have them people fill in lead ads in Facebook and spit them right into ActiveDEMAND. So that's what we're checking here, is the form that they filled out, that the matching ActiveDEMAND form. And when they fill in that Facebook lead ad, they start here. So the first thing we do is we send them an email saying, "Hey, thanks for downloading the ebook. Here's a link to it," and that's pretty much it. Then we have a link click wait period. So what these decisions do is they wait to see if someone clicks on a link. And I want to see if they click on the ebook link. Because again, some people are going to fill in this form. They're not qualified. They weren't even interested in the ebook. Maybe they clicked the wrong thing on their mobile phone, and they just so happened to fill out our form. And so really this is looking to see if they clicked on that link, and it's got a time period in there. It'll wait a day, for example, and see if they clicked on that link. If they did click on that link, I need to figure out whether that's interesting or not. For us, the thing that we wanted to do was just send a Slack message to marketing. So again, this isn't going to sales yet. This goes to marketing, and marketing gives it a once over. Hey, is this a good quality prospect or not? Because if they are if this was like a huge elephant-sized client, and all they did is click on a link from an ebook, that's probably still enough. I probably still want sales to do something. I probably want sales to reach out and call them, even if this is all they've done. So that's what this Slack message is doing, is it's a way of notifying marketing to take a look at that lead and see if it's ready for sales. It's a personal qualification. And then we go into this other wait period here, and you'll notice that this has got a wait period. This email link clicked. We've got a day or two in that one where we check to see if it's clicked there, and then we also have a wait period afterwards. And the reason why I have a wait period afterwards is if they click the link, I don't want them to immediately get another email. I always wanted a wait period in there, just so that it's not bugging them too much. I don't want to bother them too much here. So after that wait period, I've got this 1 day after the email is sent. Again, this could be a day, this could be a week. It depends on your market and where you're working in. I send an email that's got another white paper that they might be interested in, because they've already shown that they're interested in that first resource, that first white paper. Maybe they're interested in another one. So another one goes out, and I do the same thing. We check that email to see if they click the link from that email, and if they do, we again check in Slack to see if they're an appropriate size company. So it's possible that someone might not click this link, get the second one, and be interested in that, and then we're going to do that manual check. Or it's possible they might do both. Both are okay. And again, I want to see if customers or prospects are engaged and if it's time for sales to reach out to them. So that's why we've got those in there. Then we've got another wait period, and we do the same thing. We send some emails, and at that point, we're looking for a demo or a free trial. Now, outside of what you see here, I also have some goals configured for this campaign, and I have it configured so that the prospects get kicked out if they complete those goals. So if they call, if they reply to an email, if they fill in the demo form, if they book an appointment, if they ask for a trial, if they do anything else that's like interesting, I kick them out of this campaign, because then it's going to be up to sales to engage with the prospect and not this campaign. So it's important to think about how you're going to kick people out of these campaigns if they do something interesting, because this is, as far as I'm considered, all this automation is doing is taking high volume, low quality leads and trying to just take them to that next step. Just like I was showing here, all I want is for them to do something here, and that's all this drip campaign's supposed to do, is just help to enrich the prospect to make them interesting, more interesting for sales, right? So that's that campaign. The next one, and this one is a little bit less common. Like the idea of nurturing leads is one of the more common uses for drip or nurture campaigns. But this next one is probably easier for more people to get into, and is probably more applicable for more companies out there. And that's running a periodic survey. Surveying customers is a really good way of getting feedback. You can do it on monthly, quarterly, yearly intervals, whatever works for your business. This gives you periodic data that you can trend. So you can see, is our customer service doing better or worse than this time last year? This is a great way of finding out, just doing these periodic surveys. It's also a really good time to ask for a review on Google or Yelp or that kind of thing. So again, if someone fills out your survey and they give you 5 stars, you might want to have the automation ask them if they'd be willing to give you a Google review. And more or less, like this kind of periodic survey is a really great way of using this automation, and it's a very easy way to start. Now, one thing to consider: an after-sales survey, you may want to put that in a different drip, and the reason is a survey that you send directly after the sale is complete is a reflection on the salesperson more than it is the support or the product or all the other things. So a survey that you send immediately after you win the deal is still a good idea, but that is trending sales. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. But let's get back to this periodic survey. I'm going to show you one that we have. It's a little bit fancy, like I've got some fancier stuff in here, but I just want to kind of walk you through again step by step. The first thing I start with is account purchased. Now, we have our ActiveDEMAND connected to Pipedrive, which is our CRM, so that if a salesperson marks a customer as sale 1, it automatically tells ActiveDEMAND and they get dumped into this account purchased. Okay, so that's our starting position. Your start may be different. You might have to do it manually, or you might also want to connect your CRM to get this going. Long story short, that's what we do, is we have it connected to the CRM. The first thing that we do, wait 3 months. This is a quarterly survey, so I don't want to send the survey right off the hop. I'm just going to wait 3 months. Then after 3 months, you won't have some of these decisions in your quarterly survey, but some of these I do. I check to see if people have been logging in the last 2 months. This is primarily so I don't bug maybe an account purchaser who doesn't actually use the product. Sometimes we have like managers who will buy ActiveDEMAND for their directs to use. So in this case, I don't want to survey the manager who's not been using the product for 3 months. I want to survey the person who's actually using the product. So that's why we've got that check in there. I've got another check to make sure that we haven't sent an email in a while. This is something that, again, because I have so much automation, I want to make sure that I'm not emailing someone twice in a day with 2 of these kinds of requests. So this one just waits until there's been 24 hours since we've sent them an email. And then we send them a feedback request. This first email is just an email to the prospect. Hey, we've been using ActiveDEMAND for a while now. Would you please let us know how we're doing? It's a real simple survey. There's not, like, I try to keep things really, really quick and easy. And that email goes out. Then we wait 3 months. We wait until they haven't got an email in a while. We send them another feedback request, and we keep going around and around and around until we get to feedback request 4. Now, this feedback request 4 is at our 1-year mark, and some companies out there buy our product based on a yearly budget. So at the 1 year mark, it's probably a little bit more interesting. And I should probably make sure that we're definitely doing what the customer wanted us to do. So this survey is a little bit longer, a little bit more in depth. And at this point, I also notify sales that the customer has reached their 1 year. And then we do it again and again and again. So you can see you don't have to have an end to some of these drip campaigns. You can just keep doing them over and over and over again. And a quarterly survey for customers is a good example of this. Now, you immediately think, okay, but when should we exit someone from this? Okay, that's a good question. We should probably exit people from this survey if they are no longer a customer. So I'm going to need some sort of automation that removes them from this list, because being a member of this list is kind of a requirement for being in this drip campaign. Or I'll have to do some other automation to see if we need to kick someone out of the campaign. But replying to an email or calling in or booking an appointment does not kick someone out of this campaign, because those are all normal things. Those are all normal things for our customers to do, and I don't want us to stop surveying them if they do any of those things. So again, I'm thinking about what I need to include to kick people out of these campaigns, and when I don't want them to exit those campaigns as well, because I want survey feedback from customers who are booking appointments with us. This next one is for a new customer drip campaign, or a one sale, someone that's purchased from us. So the idea here is that I want to squash consistency issues between different salespeople. If you have multiple salespeople and you don't have a consistent way that they handle when someone buys, it's probably different for all of them. And I mean, creativity is the spice of life, but some of them are not doing as good a job as the other ones. And really, I think this is a really good opportunity to increase the consistency between different salespeople, is what happens after the sale. So that's why we like to use an automated after sale campaign that works alongside the salesperson and just helps with some of the consistency. Some of the other things that you can do in a new customer drip: you can handle common objections. You can survey here. This is the right place to survey if you want to see the quality of sales. This is where you would get access for the for the customer. Get them access to the resources they need. So here's how you get help, here's how you get support. And this is also where you want to train your customers. So if your product is complicated, or if customers need to know your industry to know why your product is better than your competitors, this is where a little bit of training will help with them understanding why your product is better to the competitors. So again, this is where you can train them. So ours looks something like this. Now you can see there's no decisions. Well, there's some decisions in there, but they're kind of one way. They're just waiting just to make sure that, again, we don't email them too many times in the same day. Other than that, this is straightforward. And we are using the practically the same entrance point as that other one. So you can see that I've separated those two campaigns. So I have my campaign that's a quarterly feedback, and I have my campaign that's new customer. This one just gets, this is a one-way ticket. We're just going to do it once, and then we're going to be done. So for this one, we wait 24 hours. Then we make sure that we haven't sent them an email recently, and then we send them a thank you. We wait a week, send them information about their dashboard or how to check it in. Wait a week, send them how to reach support or how to get service. So this is just a nice, really quick little campaign that's easy to do. Many of our clients have a post-sale drip campaign that's 2 or 3 emails long. Super straightforward to do. This would be a good candidate for a first campaign if you don't have a drip campaign already. You want to set a goal. So the goal on this one for us is we want our customers to learn the platform so that they can get value from it quickly. Because customers who get value from our platform start to use it in creative ways that saves them time and makes their customers money, and that's what we're trying to help with as well. For the situations where we'd want to kick someone out of this campaign, If they unsubscribe, or if sales marks them to not be emailed by marketing. That's something that we have set as well. You may want to consider that if you start building a lot of these. It's just a way for sales to opt out customers. Maybe they've got a grumpy customer or a customer that they have a special relationship with that they don't want marketing sending anything automated to, and giving them a way to opt their customers out might be a good idea. This next one is on an unresponsive prospect. So a prospect that sales is trying to get a hold of, and the prospect's ghosting them. They're not returning their calls. They're just ignoring them entirely. Again, this is a fantastic place to squash consistency issues between different salespeople. They're probably all supposed to follow like some process. If you have a decently sized sales team, they've probably already talked about this. If you have a sales manager, they definitely should have built this standard or have this standard already in place. And a process, their unresponsive prospect process should look something like this. After 3 call attempts and 2 personal emails, send 3 emails and then close it out. And really what we're going to do in marketing is we're going to build an automation that takes care of that last part, the 3 automatic emails, and then marks them for final sales review. So in this instance, I don't actually close it out. I mark it so that sales can take a look at it and they can decide, oh, actually this prospect's really, really good. I'm gonna try some more. Or they can decide, yeah, I'm done with these guys, and they can close out the deal or do whatever they need to in the CRM. So this is what what that drip would look like. So we would add them to this campaign, wait 2 days, send an email, and this is a user-triggered one, which means a salesperson manually adds this prospect to this campaign. They've said, hey, this person's not replying. I want marketing, or I want the automation to handle it now. Wait 2 days, send them an email. We check in that email. This email included a link to book an appointment. And if they book an appointment, we have this set under goals to kick them out of this campaign. But what if they clicked on the link, but they didn't book? It was like they kind of like had cold feet. They clicked on it and then they had second thoughts. Well, I can detect that. So should I do something different? If I can detect that, I think so. So if I sent them an email and it said, here, book with me now, and they clicked on it but didn't book, I'm gonna send them to this hot leads list. I'm gonna add them to this list that salespeople are going to take action on. If not, I'm going to send them an email, wait a week, send them an email, and then mark the deal to be closed out in Pipedrive. And again, if they reply to the email, if they call in, if they book an appointment, all of those things I'm going to set up as goals, and I'm going to set up this campaign under the overview where if the prospect hits a goal on this campaign, they're out. Because that's all this is trying to do. It's trying to elicit a response. It's trying to do the last 3 things to try to get this prospect to take action. I'm getting down to some of my last ones here. This is an example of a text-in campaign. This is kind of an interesting way of connecting a mobile phone or a customer that's mobile with you and letting them volunteer their information up to you without having to fill in a form or that kind of thing. So in this instance, we're looking for a sweepstakes text message. So we're checking first to see if that text contains sweepstakes. You don't have to do this. This is just an option that we have on this campaign. And then we're checking if they have an email address. And the idea with this campaign is we're going to sign them up for an email newsletter. So if we have their email address, we can move them along. If we don't have their email address, we can text message them back. So the only information we have then is a text message. We're going to text them back, say, hey, we need your email, and wait for it. And if they give it to us, fantastic. If they don't, we'll text again and then wait for it after that. So again, you can get creative with these. They don't have to be email. You can incorporate text messages. You can incorporate other channels as well. So those are all interesting as well. And the last drip campaign I kind of want to run through with you is the appointment processing workflow. This is built in to your account if you have an account with appointment scheduling in it. It looks a bit daunting, but I'm just going to run through some of the logic on this so that you understand how the logic breaks down and how this works. So the first thing that we're going to, so they've scheduled an appointment. We check if the appointment is supposed to be a GoToMeeting one. If you have Zoom, this is going to be a Zoom one. If you don't have either, you're only ever going to go down one of these paths, so no worries there. So if it's not to be a video conference, we go down this path. We email the client the appointment details. We can optionally create a matching activity inside our CRM. That's an optional one. We don't have to do that. And then we email the calendar owner. So when people book demos with me, they'll get this email that says, here's your demo, here's the time it's going to happen, yada, yada, yada. I get this one that says, here's a demo, here's what they filled in the form, here's information about their company, and here's all the other information that I need to make sure that the meeting is successful. So that's a good opportunity to prep the meeting owner on your side, inside the company, with the information that they need. Then we check, is the meeting more than 1 day away? And the reason why we're checking that is we need to decide whether we're going to shortcut them to the earlier on stuff, or if we're going to take a little bit longer. I'm just going to take you down the little bit longer. Let's go longer. We're going to then wait until we're 1 day before the meeting. And once we're 1 day before the meeting, we're going to do a check to make sure to see if it's canceled. If it's canceled, we'll email the calendar owner, let them know, hey, sorry, the meeting's been canceled. If it hasn't been canceled, then we're going to go down here, check if they have GoToMeeting. Again, I'm going to take us down the not. If they don't have GoToMeeting, we're going to email the client a 1 day reminder. So the client or the prospect gets an email reminder that this meeting is coming up. Then we wait until 1 hour before the meeting. Go check to make sure that the meeting's canceled or not, hasn't been canceled, and then we will email the client saying, hey, your meeting's coming up in 1 hour. And optionally, again here, we can send the client a text message saying, hey, here's the link to join the meeting. And sometimes that's handy because some clients and some prospects don't really pay a lot of attention to their calendar. And for some of them, this text message while they're out on the road might be the, whoops, I've got a meeting coming up. And sometimes they'll actually reply to those ones there. And that's it. That's all there is to this campaign. It looks very complex, but there's not that much going on with it. So now let's talk a little bit about what to do after your campaign launches. There's a couple of different things you might want to consider. One of them is making changes to your campaign. So if your campaign's live, and it's been live for a long time, and you're going to make some changes to it, one thing you need to consider is, where are the people that are in this campaign right now? Because there could be people in this campaign. They're going to be living in the wait states. So there might be 10 people who are waiting in this wait state. There might be 12 people in the second wait state. There might be 20 people in this third one. And there might be 5 in this last one here. And the reason why you need to consider that is if you edit a live workflow, if you edit a live drip campaign, and you delete the thing that happens afterwards, and there's no connection here, and they get out of this, they're gone. They're out of the drip campaign. So we need to make sure that any of these places where the people are temporarily living, we need to make sure that we connect that to a way out once we're done our edits. The other thing to consider is that if you delete a wait state and there are people in it, they're gone. They're out of that campaign. So that's another thing to take into consideration. Really, when you're thinking about editing a live drip campaign like this, there's 2 choices. You can edit live, or you could duplicate it and create a new drip campaign entirely. My rule of thumb, if it's going to be a small change, if you're changing content, if you're going to change like a subject line or something like that in an email, that's pretty safe to do it on the live version. If you're going to make a major change to it, I would recommend duplicating it. And on the old one, stop the people from entering so that they go through, so that they can continue to go through this. And this has like a timeline to expire. So if I axe this way in, it basically like 1 week and this thing will be entirely emptied out and it's safe. and then I can have the other one accepting new people in the meantime. So that's kind of my way out of handling this duplicate issue. But again, if it's a small issue, if it's a small thing, if you're just going to change a subject line or a little bit of email content, do it to the live version. A couple of things that you might want to check in on your drip campaign: participant growth, open and click rates, and responses. Now that participant growth, I'm going to show that in the bottom left here. This is, if you click into the campaign dashboard, you'll see these things. That's really what we're on right now, is the campaign dashboard. Participants is really good to see, are people in my campaign right now? Are they the expected number of people? I expected 20 and I got 3,000. Oh, there's something seriously wrong. I need to find out what's happening right now. I would recommend checking in on this, a couple of hours after you get a campaign going, a day after you get a campaign going, just periodically, just to make sure that things are going well. Check to see how many participants you have in the campaign. And then the next thing to check is, how are they responding to my emails? How are they responding to the actions that I'm taking inside the campaign? So for an example here, I can see email open. Feedback request 3, the email open rate is a little bit low. Maybe I can do something about that. Check out this link click. Feedback request 1, pretty good. 4, pretty good. 3, 2, pretty bad. I should look at that email and see why it's not getting a very good click rate. There must be something inside that email. Maybe I need to change the language. Maybe the link isn't obvious. I need to investigate this a little bit further to find out what's going on there, because potentially I could get that performance up to the same as these ones. If my number 1 and number 4 are both up here, something's going on there that I could probably do a little bit better with. And conversions and bounces and all that other kind of things as well. So we diagnose the campaign to see where we can improve it, where we can do even better. One other thing you might want to take a look into, if you have a form in your campaign, or if you have a feedback form or something like that, the place I like to go is the form report under reports, because this is a quick way to download all the responses. So if I wanted to see all the survey or all the feedback responses for a particular form, this is the quickest way to do it. I can just select my time period, download it. If I needed to present this to a client, this is probably the way I would go as well, is download all those and then send it over to them. So one more thing to think about is just test everything. Your subject lines, you can try new subject lines to try to improve the open rate on your emails. You can try different content to improve the click rate. Make sure that your landing pages match what's promised. So sometimes what people see is they have, I've got really good open rate, really good click rate, really terrible conversion rate. Well, what did you promise them? Did you promise them free beer and then you sent them to a page that demanded the name of their firstborn? That's not really matching what you asked them for. So definitely take a look at your landing pages. Make sure that they match what you're promising inside the email for content and for the link. And then just test, test, test. The way that we learn more about our customers is by testing and analyzing how they respond to what we send to them. Some final tips and tricks. Establish goals first. Like, again, I've been going through a lot here. We've been looking at a lot of like really nice to haves in these campaigns, but ultimately goals are most important. Find those internal subject matter experts, or SMEs, and ask them about the timing or number of times to reach out, or what is always the same. Hey, what kind of stuff do you guys do that's always the same? Well, or after sale report or surveys or whatever. Definitely monitor your campaigns to see where people are exiting. Sometimes you may have set an exit condition that is a little bit too broad, and maybe you're kicking too many people out of your campaign that you didn't mean to. And think about when you should exit people, because the opposite of that problem is that you're not kicking enough people out and you're annoying them with emails that aren't targeted to their situation anymore. So take a look at what other circumstances you may need to add in to exit them out of that campaign. Finally, you can learn more about ActiveDEMAND at learn.activedemand.com. That's our learning management system. So that's kind of like a little certification thing that you can do there. We've got ActiveDEMAND on YouTube if you're more of a visual learner and you kind of want to follow along as well. And then we have engage.activedemand.com as our support portal if you want to know more about the product, or if you wanted to jump on live chat and ask a support person for help. So that concludes the presentation. But I'll just leave the Q&A open for a little bit to see if we have any questions. So if you have any questions about drip campaigns, just jump into that GoToWebinar interface there and fire them over. I'll just wait for about a minute here. And we got one here from Kelly. Kelly asks, when should I create a new drip campaign versus just including it in an existing one? That's a good question, because I think you saw earlier on I had two drip campaigns that start with the same thing. I had one that was a periodic survey, and I had another one that was an after sales drip campaign. I could actually make those into one campaign. I could take this new customer one and I could glue on this mess afterwards. I could just chuck it onto the end here. But if I analyze that campaign later, that's gonna make it tough. It's gonna make it tough because there's a ton of steps here. There's a ton of steps here. And it's going to be a little bit difficult if it's all kind of mashed into to one spot. So that's one place where I might not want to connect those two, and where I want to separate them if there's just too many steps. The other thing to consider is, what's the goal? So my goal for this quarterly survey is to get feedback. My goal with this new customer one is customer training and support engagement. These are different goals. That's why I have them separated out. So that's another thing to consider as well. And then Jana has added in another tip here. She's in marketing here as well. She's saying, tip about naming the steps. Make sure each step has unique names, so you know which steps people are in, and it makes reporting easier to understand. That's a great tip, Jana. You'll notice here that we have weight 1, weight version 2, weight version 3. And the reason why those are named uniquely is so that later, when we're going through our reporting, there we go, we can see very clearly what's happening and which emails people are responding to, and that kind of thing. So definitely use descriptive naming in those actions and weight steps, so that you can see where people are at, and you can see their responses to each of them. Good tip there, Jana. Let's see here. Matt is asking, could you email over the replay? I'll try to emulate a few of these campaigns to start with. Matt, yeah, definitely. So the this recording of this webinar is going to be emailed to you guys after we finished, so you can take a look at some of these campaigns. We also have some of these campaigns in more detail on the ActiveDEMAND blog and in the ActiveDEMAND YouTube channel. And if there's, and like we're marketing here, we're always looking for ideas on new content. If there's a campaign that you saw and we don't have really good content on it, or we don't have a really good video on it, just email us or tweet us or Facebook us, or however which way you need to get a hold of us, and let us know, hey, I think it would be super valuable to get more information on this. And we'd be happy to help out. We'd be happy to detail those further to help you out with using some of these drip campaigns. Good question there, and I don't see any other questions. So if you have any other questions, feel free to email us or get a hold of us. Just to remind people of a couple of things before we sign off. Shortly after the webinar, you'll see a follow-up email survey. Just take a few minutes, let us know how we did. In the next day or so, we'll send out an email with access to the recorded presentation. On behalf of everyone at ActiveDEMAND, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for joining us today. We hope you found the presentation worthwhile, and we hope to see you again in the future. This concludes the presentation. Thank you, and have a great day.